Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Ali Wiley. We talking NBA basketball playoff preview is finally here. We got Shovel back in the building with us, and we got a new person with us, a new guest. He's gonna school us on the NBA playoffs. Mr. Squirrel is in the building. What's happening? We finally made it. We finally made it to the NBA playoffs. I mean, it's been the COVID, everybody missing games, no stars playing, but now it's crunch time and it looks like all the stars, everyone's gonna be healthy, and it's some spectacular matchups going on in the playoffs. So I'm gonna start with you, Chevo. Talk to me. What's the most interesting matchup that you see going on in the first round of the playoffs?
It was hard picking this. The 3 and the 4 seed in the West was definitely looking like a competitive series with those teams, but the Denver Nuggets and Clippers were two of the teams that I said had the potential to get to the Western Conference Finals. And then I looked toward the East, looking at the Knicks and Hawks. That was a pretty intriguing series. I think both those teams are both were surprises and could be evenly matched up. However, I had to go with the Heat and the Bucks. So the reason for me going with that was that the Heat eliminated the Bucks last year. I think both teams kept their core intact while still making some adjustments. The Bucks brought in Holiday and Jeff Teague for more leadership and direction at point guard, and acquired PJ Tucker at the trade deadline for defense. I think the Bucks' fate still comes down to Giannis though, and how well he adapts to the way teams guard him in the playoff. I think that he has somewhat extended his range. I've seen teams leave him open, and I've seen him take those shots confidently and hit. So I think that is what will ultimately kind of determine if if the Bucks can pass the Heat. While the Heat, on the other hand, they get back a healthy Bam, they get back a healthy Dragic, they added Trevor Ariza, and I think we expected for Victor Oladipo to help them with like more scoring and more defense. Unfortunately, he's out for the year, so I think that kind of hurts them. So I think for this series has the biggest potential for an upset, and that we might see the Heat actually beat the Bucks.
Well, they did beat them 4-1 last year. Before we go into,
and they were 11-3 ending the season, going into the end of the season out of the last with 2 games left. So
yeah, there you go. Before we go any further, Ada, explain the play-in right quick.
Oh no, well the play-in, it goes like the 7th seed plays the 8th seed. All right, the winner of that game becomes the 7th seed. The loser of that game plays the winner between the 9th and the 10th seed, and the winner of that game becomes the 8th seed.
Okay, so that explains it. So, Squirrel, looking at these first round matchups, what you liking? What matchup you liking the most?
I agree mostly with Kelvo. The Bucks Heat, due to the last year with the Heat eliminating the Bucks, and then I also believe that if the Bucks don't win this year, there's going to be a lot of changes coming out of Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
They made the moves to upgrade with Holiday and PJ Tucker to try to get to at least the conference finals, maybe even the finals. And I just think a first round loss for that team would be catastrophic. And I just think the clock would be ticking on them, and it'll say basically we need to move on. The other first round matchup that I like is the Clippers versus the Mavs. The Clippers on the second year of this Kawhi and Paul George experiment. I think if they lose, you have to make some moves there too. I mean, they brought those two in believing they would compete for a championship. And last year they lost in the semifinals after having a 3-1 lead. This year, if they were to lose in the first round, I think some change had to be made. They might have to get rid of Paul George because I know they're going to want to keep Kawhi. So those two matchups really are important to me, but I definitely believe in the Bucks and Heat, and I'm going to say that the Bucks will beat the Heat this time. I think the Bucks are a better team with Drew Holiday. I think his ability to guard Jimmy Butler, his ability to make shots. I think the Bucks shoot the 3 very well. They stretch the floor. So when teams pack it in against Giannis, he's had to adjust now to know how to pass out of double teams, things like that. Get his teammates open shots, and I just think this time they will get past the Heat.
You bring up a good point. If the Bucks lose in this first round again, I mean, you can't explain it. I mean, it's but Giannis just signed the max contract, so they kind of stuck. They could be stuck with this team, but probably is going to be some coaching changes. I know that for sure.
You got 2 predictions that if either team or those teams lose, that they might be blowing up. That's for the Clippers and the Bucks, so that's a big prediction.
Yeah. I mean, when you put together teams to win championships and they don't even get close, I just think you'll wonder. And Kawhi, he has an opt-out. So if they lose, Kawhi, he could leave.
Yep.
And I mean, you brought me in with Paul George. I gave him Paul George. We traded away all our draft picks. We went all in. We can't keep coming up short.
Absolutely, absolutely. Adi, tell me, what matchups are you looking at in this NBA playoff first round?
Well, I'm looking at the Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
That's the game. That's a series I want to see. And since Atlanta fired their coach, Lloyd Pierce, they had the second best offensive rating in the NBA, and it was tied with Philadelphia for the best record in the Eastern Conference. They have been on fire. Clint Capella leads the NBA in rebounds per game. You got the boy Bogdanovich. That boy won't hesitate to light up the competition. He shoots 7 threes a game. He's hitting on 43% from downtown, okay? And our old friend, Tony Snell. He's shooting 57%.
50-100 season.
Oh, Tony
Never been
Snell.
done.
Oh, Tony Snell played over 20 minutes a game, so we can't just say it was cheap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
57%
legit.
from downtown. This man is on fire.
Yeah.
You know, and so Trae Young got a nice supporting cast for his first playoff experience. Now, you got Tom Thibodeau. He got them playing some old school, gritty hustle ball in New York. The #1 in points allowed per game in the league this year. Best defense in the NBA. You got Julius Randle playing at an all-NBA, performing like an all-NBA guy.
Yep,
and Squirrel was talking about that, you know, in the group chat, you know what I'm saying? Right on with that one right there. You got RJ Barrett, this guy. He's made a significant improvement to his game from last year to this year, and Knicks fans got to be encouraged by his sophomore season. Derrick Rose career high 3-point percentage, shooting 41% from downtown. The boy Emmanuel Quickly, he should be an all rookie first teamer.
That's true.
Norris Noel, #2 in the NBA in blocks per game. I'm picking the Knicks to eliminate the Atlanta Hawks in 7 games. Game 7, Madison Square Garden. I got the Knicks beating the Hawks, eliminating them to advance and play Philadelphia in the second round.
Woo! Hey, listen, it's a lot of good first round matchups. I'm with Squirrel on the Clippers and Mavericks. I mean, in the bubble last year, Luka Doncic was going crazy on them, but then the Clippers finally made some adjustments on them, started trapping them, and then that's when they took over the series. But now, it's a couple things missing from Dallas. They don't have Steph Curry this year. That was a big part of their thing. We got to see what Porzingis is going to bring to the table. So I don't know if this is the same Mavericks team that we saw last year, but Luka is a lot better. And he's shown, even in the regular season playoffs, Kawhi, Paul George, Patrick Beverly, put the whole team on him. They can't guard, buddy. He be killing them every time. So I am interested in that, but I do want to see the Clippers. I know they finished the 4th seed, but they seem to look better this year. They played better. Seemed like Tyronn Lue got them coached a lot better. They put them in better positions. We're going to see the Rondo pickup. This is when the Rondo pickup should come up big. We're going to see a playoff Rondo. It's still playoff Rondo, so I'm very interested in that. And Knicks and Hawks. You know, I've been on this Trae Young bandwagon for a long time. Yeah. I've been on it. So,
yeah, you have.
You made the prediction that they had playoffs, and I didn't believe you.
Cause you know, me and I used to have it. He was like Luka's way, but I always said Trae just needs some people with him, and they'll get there. So he's got a little bit of a team, but Bogdanovich, he's on fire all the time. Like Clint Capella, but the Knicks, I love their defense. Tibbs brought that gritty back to the Knicks. I feel like I'm watching Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing. Old school basketball, but Tibbs got them playing hard. That's gonna be a magnificent series. So I'm gonna pick the Clippers to beat the Mavericks in 6. I still think the Clippers are the better team, and I think Kawhi and Paul George will find them. I think Paul George comes out of his playoff funk and he gets it going this year in this playoff. And I think that, this is tough. As much as I love Derrick Rose, I'm going with the Hawks in 7 in this one.
Okay.
I think the Hawks.
I'm going with the Hawks. I'm probably going to be cheering for the Knicks for my Bulls affiliation with Tibbs and Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson. But I just like the Hawks team. They got scoring all over the court. They got 3-point shooters. They got a rim roller. And Clint Capella is just going to be a lot to deal with. But I expect that to be an epic series.
No doubt. Hey, I do want to say we didn't mention the Blazers and the Nuggets. That matchup right there. And the Portland Trailblazers made a nice trade. They traded Rodney Hood and Gary Trent to Toronto for Norman Powell. Yeah. He's averaging 18 points a game.
Norman Powell hooping with them.
Yeah, he's killing 41% from downtown. Damian Lillard, last year against the Lakers, he dislocated his finger. Game 2, Game 4, he injured his knee and had to leave the bubble. Didn't play for the rest of the series. So I know he can't wait to get Dame time started this year in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Get Dame started. He gonna kill. I think they're gonna eliminate the Nuggets in the first round. I
I'm a little disappointed in this matchup.
Yeah, I wish
because of the way that Denver's beat up.
Yeah.
Denver's missing. Jamal Murray won't be back.
Yeah.
We don't know about Monte Morris or Will Barton. We don't know if either one of those are coming back. I did love the Aaron Gordon pickup. Jokic will be the MVP. He's played tremendous all year long. So Portland doesn't have anybody for them. But once again, Portland is lacking in guard play, Denver's lacking in guard play, and Portland has the guard play. So it's an interesting matchup, but I'm going to stick with Denver. I'm going to give Jokic.
Oh, sticking with Denver, okay.
After winning the MVP, I don't want to see who leave in the first round, so I'm going to hope that Denver's going to pull it out. And they did win the season series, which, regular season doesn't mean much, but they did win the season series against Portland. So I'm going to pick Denver.
Yeah, I had looked at both of those series, and like you said, I thought about the Mavericks because I've been down on the Clippers since they were eliminated last year, but I looked at the roster for the Mavericks, and I just don't. Luka would have to be Luka Jordan, I think, to beat the Clippers, and I just don't see him doing it all by himself. And then, like you said, I thought that was intriguing with Denver because they are banged up. I had them going to the Western Conference Finals. Like you said, I think Jokic will stay at MVP form. I know they brought in Austin Rivers to see if he could kind of fill in for Jamal Murray. But I'm with Squirrel. I think that I'm stick with Denver and think that Denver can probably take Portland in the series.
That's we're gonna see because that is gonna be an interesting matchup. Now, if Denver was fully healthy, that's a no-brainer. Denver all day.
Of course.
But Portland do have a shot, and one thing they got wild card. Fourth quarter of the games is close. They got damn time, so that's the wild card they do have. We shall see. So we talked about the first round, some intriguing matchups, but let's talk about who we think is gonna finish in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll start with that one first. Squirrel. Give me your Eastern Conference Finals and who's going to win it.
Okay, well, starting off, I have Philly there. I just think their road's easy. They're the number one seed. Whichever team comes out to play in as the 8th seed, I don't give them much of a chance against Philly. Second round, they would get the winner of the Hawks and the Knicks, which I don't think is much of a challenge for them either. So I have Philly going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And for my other team, I picked the Bucks. I picked them to upset the Nets. And the only reason I did so is because the Nets haven't been at full strength much this year, so we don't really know how to all fit together, all three players, and in a playoff series. In the regular season is a little more free-flowing, playoff series is a little more half-court. And I don't know about their injuries. Hamstrings, as far as Harden, can reoccur. Durant, he's had a catastrophic injury with Achilles. Kyrie's mental space. You never know what's going on with that. So, and also, I'm not very trusting in Kyrie. I believe that if the game got down to crunch time, Kyrie would believe that he's the best player on the court, which he usually does, and he would take it upon himself to try to win it and maybe ice out Durant. So they'd have to keep the ball in Harden's hands and be safe, but Kyrie's gonna shoot. So, and I just think Milwaukee, they have less pressure this year. They're not the number one seed. They're not the one that everybody's expecting to get to the finals. I think there's a little less pressure. That they can play a little more free. They got the PJ Tucker. He's not going to stop Durant, of course, no way. But he can, you can throw him at Durant. You got Drew Holiday to throw at Kyrie or James Harden, whichever one you pick. Middleton came into the league as a defender. He's 6'8", body. He can stay in front of people. Giannis is still a mismatch on the other end. You don't want KD guarding Giannis all game, something like that. So Giannis should have a mismatch against whoever they decide to guard him. I think Milwaukee's a little deeper. So I'm going to give Milwaukee the nod. I know it's not a popular pick, but I think Milwaukee gets it done, gets to the Eastern Conference Finals, where I think due to the fact that they battled the Nets so hard, they're going to have a hell of a road dealing with the Heat and then the Nets if they were to advance. I think Philly would be fresher and then would beat them. So I have Philly going to the finals this year.
I like it.
I like the Embiid Kool-Aid. I think he's unguardable, and I think if he decides to stay in the low post, he can average 40 a night against anybody.
Yes,
Philly in the championship.
Ooh, hey. Well, look, they've been the number one team in the East for most of the year. I mean, I know they lost it a couple days, but they got it right back. So, I mean, right now they're the number one spot, so they should be favored.
That would be the first time since my man AI took them against the Lakers in the finals.
20 years.
It's an anniversary. Adi, who's going to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks also. They had the most disappointing playoffs last year in the NBA, okay? And that's why they traded 3 future first-round picks My man Bledsoe, Eric Bledsoe, George Hill to the Pelicans for Drew Holiday. He brought defense to Milwaukee, number 2 amongst point guards in steals per game, shooting a career high 50% from the field. And like we talked about, PJ Tucker, he's gonna bring toughness off the bench with Bobby Portis. Those guys, yeah. They're coming off the bench, they deep, man. I like that about Milwaukee. And but first they got to get their revenge against the team that embarrassed them last year in the first round of the playoffs, the Miami Heat. And I know Giannis Antetokounmpo is hell-bent on redeeming himself. He injured his ankle in Game 4 of that series. He had to watch his team on the bench and get eliminated.
Only game they won, he didn't play.
He didn't play. I just feel like he got to bounce back. He got to kill, and especially in this series against the Miami Heat. I get the Bucks. I also got the Bucks eliminating the reigning Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat. I get them eliminating them to play the super team in Brooklyn, the Big Three. But like Squirrel said, they only played 8 games. 8 games together. Amongst playoff teams, they have the second worst defensive rating in the playoffs.
They do.
And Chris Middleton, he played very good against the Nets this year, averaging 24 points a game. Drew Holiday averaged 21 points a game against the Nets this year. So they showed up for the big games. And fear the deer, I got the Bucks upsetting the Nets as well. I got the Bucks upsetting the Nets. I got them playing Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I really like the Greek Freaks supporting cast more than Joel Embiid. I don't really like. I just don't feel comfortable with Tobias Harris. I saw what he did last year in the playoffs. He's unreliable to me. Ben Simmons, you can really exploit the fact that he won't shoot the jump shot. He refused. What would we say, like 10?
He shot 10 threes all season.
Yeah. So I just don't trust that. I get the Milwaukee Bucks breaking their 46-year finals appearance drought. They haven't made it since they had Lou Alcindor and Oscar Robinson. All right, way back. Okay, I got them going to the NBA Finals. Fear the deer.
Nice. Fear the deer. Both. Hey, I like it. I like it a lot. Shovel, who is going to be in the Eastern Conference Final and who's going to win?
So I'm going away from my original pick. I picked Boston early in the year, and they stunk it up. And also, that was before the Brooklyn Nets got Harden, and I give you credit. Roach was on the Brooklyn bandwagon early. You picked them early in the year, and I wasn't sold. Also, as Squirrel mentioned, Kyrie's mental state wasn't there. He wasn't even coming to games. So I'm switching to Brooklyn now. I think that we haven't seen a team with this much talent since either the Big Three, Miami Heat, or since KD went to the Warriors. I haven't seen a team. And that Big Three Miami Heat were 2 or 4 on championships, and the Warriors, you saw the run that they ran off, and they won championships with KD. So I'm just sold on talent. I do agree with y'all that I do think the Sixers will be there in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Nets, because I think that, like you said, Embiid is pretty unstoppable. Simmons is great on defense, distributing the ball. So I think it's going to be a Sixers-Nets Eastern Conference Finals this year.
Who you got winning?
Who I got winning? I got to go with the Nets, man. I'm going with talent. I mean, like you said, barring Kyrie not disappearing or somebody else getting injured,
right.
I got to go with the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Bucks did some upgrades. I'm with y'all. I seen what they did, but I still fear them going against the Heat again in the first round. So we'll see what happens.
Who you got winning that first round matchup? The Heat or the Bucks? You didn't say it.
I don't know.
You gotta pick somebody, man.
You know what, man? I'm gonna ride with Jimmy Butler, man. I said the Heat upset the Bucks again
in the first round.
If that happened, that's gonna be ugly.
Giannis gotta prove me wrong, man. He gotta prove me wrong.
I get it. I mean, Giannis has had, he's the same type of defense has stopped the last 2 seasons in the playoffs, him not being able to shoot. So until he showed to Ali's point, he has in his regular season, you say that, Shep, I'm sorry, he's finished the season, he's been shooting great. I mean, I remember watching those back-to-back when they played the Nets. I mean, I seen moves I ain't seen from him before. He was hitting turnaround jumpers. He was getting them with the hook shot. I mean, he was using the footwork. I was like, okay, if he's gonna play like that they can win it all.
And that was the other thing. I watched those games and saw them beat the Nets twice. they had no Harden, and those games were close.
They had Durant for both of those games, though.
They didn't have Harden. You did not face the Nets.
They had Harden in the first game.
No, they didn't.
No, they did.
In the very first game they played
2 games.
Oh, that was early in the
season.
The last 2 games they played where they lost.
Well, they did the back-to-back.
Yeah, they lost, and they did not face them in full strength. It was a close game. So that's the reason why I said if I got to edge Tyler out. You put another player, according to y'all, people think Harden is the greatest scorer ever, even though I know that dude wore 23. I'm just saying, you put him on the court with Durant and Kyrie is kind of pick your poison. So, but yeah, that's a hard pick though between the Bucks and the Heat. And I'm gonna roll with Jimmy.
Oh man, look. Milwaukee's got to get by. There's no excuse. They just absolutely have to get by Miami, and I think they will. That second round matchup is going to feel like an Eastern Conference Finals with the Nets and the Bucks. That is going to be spectacular. That's going to be an epic series. I mean, you got so many good. You got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Giannis. You got Drew Holiday. You got Middleton. It's just so much talent. But let me tell you, I'm picking the Nets because of one player. Kevin Durant may be the best player, but James Harden is the most important player. And he's the one that gets that offense going. He's the one that gets all the others, that Shaq like to call them, involved in the game. The Joe Wolves, the Landry Shamans. He's the one that get them shots. Gets DeAndre Jordan some easy alley-oop dunks to get him going, get his spirit going. He's the most important player because he's the point guard. As you see, when he went out, the Nets were winning games, but it wasn't as fluid and it wasn't the same. Because James Harden is the true point guard, and if they don't have him, if he's hurt and if he has a hamstring issue, they will lose to the Bucks. No question about it. They have to have him. But I'm gonna say, barring injury, he's gonna be there. I got the Nets coming out. I got them playing Philly as well. I got Philly in the Eastern Conference. If Philly don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's a big upset.
Yes.
That's if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, this is going. Doc Rivers is. Boy, that'd be 2 years in a row. He had loaded teams and he blew it. Oh my goodness.
Thibodeau comes for his ass, or McMillan, or Nick McMillan comes for him.
You know what? I'm having talent.
Look, and Embiid you're right. He's unstoppable. And I almost picked Philly to beat the Nets because the Nets have no answer. They have nobody. I mean, there's absolutely no one on their team that is ready to deal with Joel Embiid. Embiid is probably going to average 45, 20, and 6. But
you're right.
But he's going to score a lot of points. But I don't trust the others on Philly. I don't know if Ben Simmons is going to be able to be in play in the fourth quarter. Tobias Harris, you brought him up. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. I know Kevin Durant, every time he step on the court, he can go out there and give you 45 and win the game. Kyrie Irving, I know he got a crazy mental space right now and his mind is elsewhere, but if his mind is sharp and he's on the game, he can go get you 50. He can go, and then of course James Harden can go get you 35, 15, and 10. You know, so I got to go with the Nets coming out the East. That's why I picked that beginning with it. I'm sticking with it. And I'm sticking with it. But man, it's gonna be, man. Ooh, that Nets and Bucks is that's gonna be a monster.
I want to see that also for the Giannis Harden, because remember when they took jabs at each other with Harden said he just could run up and down the court fast and all that stuff. So that'll be interesting to see them play against.
The Bucks better beat the Heat. I'm gonna tell you right now. They better beat them. Let's talk about Chevo. Talk to me about the Western Conference. Who you got in the Western Conference Finals? Who's gonna win?
So for the West, I was the one who went out on a limb and picked Denver. Adi told me to spend some money on Vegas and do that. I know they have experienced injuries, but I'm sticking with Denver. In the West, I think that they will be in the Western Conference Finals. I think that the team that they will face, I said the West was a toss-up. There were 5 teams that I thought could end up in the Western Conference Finals. It was like Phoenix, the Jazz, the Clippers, the Lakers, and Denver. Lakers have suffered injuries all season and stuff like that. I'm looking at, I think that it will actually be the Jazz. I think I talked about this before. I know that the Jazz, Mitchell had an injury, and I know that they didn't play well at the very end of the season.
Mike Conley been missing too.
Right, but yeah. I talked about this before. They were the only team in the NBA at the midseason who had 6 players averaging in double figures, and then they were the only team that had 2 players coming off their bench with Clarkson and Ingles averaging double figures. Defensively, they were like 3rd in defense in the league, and I think that goes well for the playoffs. I think they have a strong front court, which can help them if they had to face Phoenix or the Lakers or anybody. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't count the Lakers out because you can't count them out with them having LeBron on the roster. But I don't think with them having to go against the playoffs and in the road that they have to take to get there, plus the injuries, I don't have them as a shoe-in anymore. So I'm going Western Conference Finals. I think the matchup, I'm staying on Denver's bandwagon. I think it'll be Denver versus the Jazz in the Western Conference.
Who you got winning?
I'm riding with Denver. I think Denver.
He loving Jokic.
I think he's gonna be the MVP this season. He's almost averaging a triple-double.
He's gonna be the MVP.
So I mean, I'm riding with Jokic. He made a fool of me last year when I picked the Clippers and thought that the Clippers would beat Denver. So I'm riding with Jokic.
Wow, Jokic is phenomenal. He's having and the one thing about Jokic, even though they got players injured, his ability to pass and make other players better, that's second to none. It's second to none. So players that you wouldn't think that would be that good, or he will be throwing them easy passes and they're getting easy layups, and all of a sudden their confidence is gone. And Michael Porter Jr. is going to be the key though.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen a big man make the game look so easy. Like, he's not moving fast. It's just like he's at his own pace, and whether he's shooting, passing, whatever, it's just it's a clinic.
I mean, he's spectacular. I mean, he's spectacular. Squirrel, who's going to be in the Western Conference Finals?
Okay, I'll start off with the easy team first. You see the hat. That would be the LA Lakers. I just think their road actually lined up perfect for a team that's battling injuries and trying to get a rhythm. They will start off, if they were to beat the Warriors in the play-in, which I assume they will do, they will play Phoenix, which is a horrible matchup for Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix likes a lot of small ball. The Lakers are a big team. They have no one to deal with LeBron, Anthony Davis, not even Drummond for that most part. Aiden's a big man, but he doesn't really bang like that. So I just think the Lakers will overwhelm him with rebounding, size, and they can get through Phoenix pretty easy. Second round, they would deal with either it would be Denver or Portland, which I don't think either match up well with the Lakers. Denver would have been a good matchup healthy. But without with Will Barton hurt, Monte Morris hurt, I just think Denver won't have enough. I'm not saying they're going to be Portland, but I'm just saying if it was to be Denver, I don't think they're a tough matchup for the Lakers due to their injuries. Portland's small, once again, similar to Phoenix. Portland has the two guards they can get, but the Lakers are a big team. They're going to just beat on Portland. Portland's horrible defensively.
They're going to be 100 offensive rebounds.
Exactly. Portland can score because you got two dominant guards, but defensively, Portland's not a good team. So I think the Lakers will definitely make it out that side of the bracket. On the other side, I actually am going to buy the Kool-Aid of the Utah Jazz going to the Western Conference Finals. Utah is one makes the most threes in the leagues and also gives up the least amount of threes.
Wow.
So that 3-point, we all know in the NBA now, the 3 points are huge. So I just think that Utah will be able to get there as long as they're healthy. I think Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley's health is very important to them. But even with those two missing a lot of games, they still have the best record in the NBA.
Yeah.
So they do have a lot. They're great defensively. You're not getting a lot of inside points with Gobert down there. So I think that Utah will actually get there this time. Well, I think they will actually lose to the Lakers because of the experience of the Lakers. And I just also know the Lakers with LeBron, they're smart. They're going to put Rudy Gobert in so many pick and rolls on top that it'll get to the point maybe in the clutch he might not be even playable because he's not great enough on offense to dominate the Lakers, and they're going to use him and they're going to always involve him in the pick and roll. To deal with his foot speed. If you can get him to come out for the pick, which he doesn't like to come all the way out, he doesn't like that, but if he does, he doesn't have his foot speed. So I think the Lakers will be able to get through the Utah in the Western Conference Finals, and I have the Lakers in the actual finals this year.
I like it. Lakers and Philly.
Yes.
Lakers and Philly, Denver, and the Nets.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, then. Adi, who's going to be in the Western Conference Finals?
Well, you know what? Dwight Howard left the Lakers to go to Philadelphia. They finally replaced him with Andre Drummond.
Yeah, they missed him.
That's the key reason why the Lakers won a ring, because they dominated in the paint. And so they'll be back in the Western Conference Finals, all right? And they're going to play a team that never played in the Western Conference Finals ever in franchise history, the Los Angeles Clippers. Okay?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The Clippers going to make it.
Redeeming themselves.
They
One building matchup.
They finally get the matchup we wanted to see. They got some big guys that can reduce the Lakers' dominance in the paint. Who they got? Serge Ibaka. Yeah. He's back from the injury. He's back. He's looking good, ready for the playoffs. DeMarcus Cousins. You got to show us that he still got something left in the tank.
He got 15 minutes in the game.
Give me a good 15, 18, 20 minutes or something like that. Zubac leads the Clippers in rebounds per game. They got some big guys that can do it. But Anthony Davis, he's going to remind us that why he is a perennial all fucking NBA guy, okay? And then you get LeBron James is going to remind us why he's the best player in the Milky Way galaxy. And so, I got the Lakers eliminating the Clippers. But good job, Clippers, by breaking that drought, man. Finally,
it would be great for them.
For the Western Conference Finals. But I got the Lakers going to the finals. I got the Lakers versus the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals.
I like it. Oh yeah, I mean, you can make it like Chevy, you brought up. I mean, you can make a case for about 4 or 5 different teams in the West. But listen, I'm never falling for the ooh-ah. I'm not hearing talking about people that the Lakers is hurt. I know what's going to happen when the playoffs start. I know LeBron is going to take it to the next level. He's 100% healthy. He's ready to go. Anthony Davis is ready to go. They're going to be in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, Squirrel mentioned it. Their path is just not that hard. And when you really look at it, how they match up with the teams, this path is much easier. And I gotta go with the Clippers. I have to go with the Clippers. Go in the Western Conference Finals. I know last year, I saw what happened last year. I mean, if anybody's happy that Jamal Murray got hurt, it's the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm gonna tell you right now, because with the Joker if the Joker and Jamal Murray, everybody's playing, I might have picked Denver in the Western Conference Finals. I'm telling you, that team, if they were healthy. But I'm going with the Clippers. We finally gonna get the battle of LA, Kawhi versus LeBron James. Must see TV. Hope it happens. Can't wait for it. So and I just think, but when it's said and done, I think it's gonna be one of the epic series, because I think the Clippers is probably the only team that can realistically, because of the way they match up, could beat the Lakers in a series.
I agree.
Because of the matchups. Mm-hmm. But LeBron this might be his last go around in it. I mean, I know LeBron is, he's the best athlete that we probably have ever seen, but he is 36. But Anthony Davis is going to be the problem for them. That's going to be the matchup nightmare. But Serge Ibaka, they did get Serge Ibaka, but I'm picking the Lakers in 7. I think it's going to go 7, right down to the last couple minutes. And I think the Lakers squeeze it out at the end of Game 7. I think it's going to be one of those it's going to be a lot of trash talking. It's going to be a lot of media. I can't wait for it. I hope that happens. Clippers, don't blow it. Don't make me look bad on here.
Don't lose to the Mavericks.
Please don't, because we want to see that matchup. That's going to be must-see TV. We picked our conference finals. So, give me yours. Give me your East and West again.
Oh yeah. The Eastern Conference Finals, I had the Bucks over Philadelphia.
Okay.
And in the West, I had the Lakers beating the Clippers.
And who'd you have, Shelvo?
I had in the East, I had the Brooklyn Nets over the Philadelphia 76ers, and in the West, I had the Denver Nuggets over the Utah Jazz.
I had the Nets over Philly and the Lakers over the Clippers. Who'd you have, Squad?
I had Philly over the Bucks and then the Lakers over Utah.
All right, I just wanted to get that.
Yeah.
I had to make sure. So Squirrel, who is going to win it all? You the man of the hour right now. Who is going to win this thing? Is LeBron going to repeat, or is it going to be a different champion this year?
I think the Lakers' experience will help them in this one. I got them going against Philly. Philly's never been there. We got Embiid in his first finals. We have Tobias in his first finals. Ben Simmons in their first finals. And I just think the Lakers' experience in this case will win out. So I have the Lakers beating Philly. Of course, Embiid will be dominant. I have Embiid dominating. But I just think Ben Simmons, you can throw him at LeBron, but once again, that Anthony Davis guy.
Yeah.
I don't think Philly has anyone for him. I don't even know who they would attempt to guard him with on that team. So I have the Lakers winning, and I'm going to actually say AD will get the Finals MVP.
Oh, okay. Hey, this is the year for AD to show out. Shavo, who's going to win the championship this year?
So I got Brooklyn and Denver in the finals. And as bad as I want to say Brooklyn because of all the talent that they got, I'm riding with Denver. I'm picking Denver. I don't think they ain't stopping Jokic, and I think that we're gonna see big performances from Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
You should go on DraftKings.
You got that.
I got to wrap that all the way to the end. Originally, I had them over Boston. I wasn't expecting for Brooklyn to be this good or to have this much talent. But I'm not gonna switch it up now. Just in Jokic we trust. That's all I can say. He made a fool of me last year, thinking that the Clippers were gonna beat them, and so I'm following him all the way to the finals this year. So
wow, I like.
Hey, you stuck with him. Let's go. Hey, if they was healthy, I might have been with you. I'm not gonna lie. If they was healthy, who's gonna win the championship this year?
Well, I get the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Los Angeles Lakers. The Milwaukee Bucks, they got some big guys. Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. He's a nice big man. Giannis Antetokounmpo can get 15 rebounds a game and all that stuff. But the Houston Rockets is 95 Houston Rockets, the lowest seed to win the NBA championship.
Yep.
Not anymore.
7
The Lakers as the 7th seed will be the lowest seed of all time to win the NBA championship. Repeat, LeBron James, they win again.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now that you said it, I didn't think about it like that. Because the Lakers, we know, because everybody knows the Lakers probably have the best roster and they got the best team. But yeah, I'm going with the Lakers too. I know I was high on the Nets, but once again, and this is where the size is really going to kill the Nets. I just think the size is going to be too much. Drummond, Anthony Davis, Marc Gasol, even Montrezl Harrell, if you want to throw them in there, are going to be banging the boards. They're going to be getting all type of rebounds. DeAndre Jordan, he's not that good. I hate to say it like that, but he's just
LeBar's all just
retired.
Blake Griffin's there.
He's playing good, but Blake Griffin is still undersized compared to the Lakers. And I mean, LeBron and Durant are kind of cancel each other out. I mean, they're gonna go back and forth like they always do. If the Nets win, James Harden is gonna have to be the MVP. James Harden is gonna have to be. He gonna have to go back to the Houston days and go ahead and be prolific scoring. And all that, and because it's the matchups they got. Because Kyrie Irving, you brought up how they're gonna use Rudy Gobert. They're gonna punish. They're gonna pick on Kyrie Irving. And if the Lakers play him, they're gonna find him in mixed match. They're gonna pick guys just so he can have to guard LeBron or guard. It's just they're gonna pick on him. So Kyrie Irving that's gonna be a tough. Now he can score, but that's still gonna be a tough matchup for him. I just got the Lakers, and they will be the lowest seed. LeBron is gonna get number 5. And that's gonna be cementing a great career. He could probably retire, but he don't need to play no more. I mean,
he trying to stick around for Bronny just in case.
Yeah,
but he still needs Wills with. He won't go record.
Yeah, so LeBron, he's the man, and I just feel like he's rested. That was strategic resting. I'm not mad at the Lakers for what they did. Get him right, get him ready.
Yeah, because they had that short offseason, 77 days, shortest ever. So I think a lot of that injury was part of some rest.
Yeah, and then Anthony Davis, he's looked the last time watching him play this last couple games, he looked like he's back. Yeah, he's Anthony Davis, so. Yep. So
back to back.
All three Lakers and one Nuggets. I like. If you are right, you know how many bragging rights you gonna have forever. If you pick the Denver,
you can put $10 on DraftKings on the Nuggets. That probably be a good haul.
I'm not confident because I got him against Brooklyn, and Brooklyn got a lot of firepower. However, I'm sticking with him. I feel like I gotta stick.
No
with
Jamal Murray, man.
They gonna do it for Jamal Murray. He's gonna inspire them.
I would be if he was playing. I might be
more confident if he was playing. But
if he was playing, I'd be with you.
I can't switch it up now. I can't just switch it up
because that team is loaded when he's there. Because with him and Joker, that's
Aaron Gordon
and with Michael Porter Jr. That's unstoppable.
They got Gordon
and Aaron Gordon.
They got Gordon, they got Porter. I ain't gonna count them out. So bold prediction. Y'all agree 3 Lakers and 1 Denver.
Convictions. I like it.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you. Hey, you been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. I want to thank Squirrel for coming on the show, helping us out, guiding us, giving us some insight on the NBA. I want to thank Shovel for doing the same exact thing. Very fun show, good time. We will get drunk and talk about this show and talk about all our picks. Yes. And we will see who was right and who was wrong. I can't wait. Playoffs are going to be fantastic. In the meantime, in between time, we out. Peace.